I want to share my story with you. I just don't know where to start. Do I talk about the memories I shared with her, the times that she picked me up? Or do I talk about the day that I found her body? I can tell you one thing. Today is October 19th, and it's exactly 1 year since I've lost my best friend. Kyah was a white lab. I didn't even want a lab. I actually wanted a golden retriever. And the day that I picked her out, I went in wanting to look at golden retrievers, and I left with Kyah. It was like she was my dog. And I just knew from the very beginning when I had her laying in my lap and she just stared up at me. I just knew it was her, and there was just no question about it. Through the years, I was constantly reminded that Kyah was the best dog in the world. There wasn't a time where I wouldn't say, "Can Kyah come?" if I was invited somewhere. And if she couldn't come, more than likely I was busy. Kyah was my rock. She got me through everything. I was in a relationship with somebody for 4 years, and I was so determined that we were going to get married and be together forever. I loved their family, everything about them. And then it just kind of fell apart. He ended up with my boss, and it was just a very ugly time of my life. I didn't handle it well. But there was one consistent thing I had, and that was Kyah. I really thought that breakup was going to be the hardest thing I ever went through, and then things just kept getting worse. I slipped into a depression. I put myself through toxic relationships, some of them toxic because of me. I was living paycheck to paycheck, spending my money on dog food before feeding myself. I became unhealthy, depressed, alone. It was pretty bad. And as my world collapsed, so did my mother's. She had a really, really bad 2 years. She became an alcoholic. We had her in and out of rehabs. Baker acted her. Countless times I had her tell me to my face that she just wanted to die. It was really, really hard. And with what I was going through and what she was going through, mentally I just was unable to handle it. And I did everything I could to help my mom, but she just wasn't getting better. I watched my mom's body deteriorate over the course of 2 years. I watched her ruin her life and basically destroy herself. And as I sat there helplessly praying that she would find a cure, she would have good days and bad days, and she would be clean for a while, but then she would just start drinking again, and push come to shove, I just couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't watch her die. I had to say goodbye, and without Kyah, I don't think I could have done that. Letting go was so difficult, but I had to do it for my own mental health. Mother's Day was the last day that I spoke to my mother. I told her goodbye. I gave her a hug, told her I loved her. She slammed the door in my face, but I knew she knew that I cared and that I tried. I just couldn't do it anymore for my own mental health, and I had to cut her out of my life, and unfortunately, that was the last time I ever saw her alive. As time passed on, nobody was seeing Mom anymore. She had basically disappeared. We called a couple of wellness checks on her, trying to figure out if she was home or not. We just had a feeling she was inside the house, but we couldn't go in because I was kicked out, and the police don't go in unless they have reason to believe that she's inside, and they genuinely thought she was not. Finally, after about a month and a half of not hearing or seeing or any sort of activity from Mom, we knew it was time to go in. That day absolutely changed me. Time flashed before my eyes, and I screamed and I cried, and I just couldn't believe it when they told me that my mom was dead. I knew she was going to die, but hearing it, that she was inside, it got worse when they wrapped my house in crime scene tape. I just didn't know what to believe, what happened. It all happened so fast, and they couldn't identify my mom's body because she had been laying there for a month and a half. And the dogs had gotten to her. The house was a mess. Everything was just unreal. But even though that day was the day that verified that my mom was gone, she died 2 years ago. The day that she chose alcohol over her life, that's the day that I lost my mom. And that's the day that I grieve for her. Everything else that happened, she was just this monster. She wasn't my mom anymore. And I miss my mom. And she was the best mom that anybody could ever ask for. And even if she slipped and she had a terrible ending, nothing will change. She's the best mom in the world. Kyah had to eat and pee every day, and that was just about the only thing getting me out of bed. I was strong in front of others, but not at home. I absolutely depended on Kyah. She had my back. She was the best cuddler. She knew how to trust fall. It was so cute. She was just my best friend. The only friend that's never left me, that's always been there, always by my side. That was Kyah. Everybody loved her. She was just such a good dog. She just was such a good dog. There's nothing else to it. Kyah was the best. Kyah helped me get back to normal and got me back on the right path. I owe her my life. She literally brought happiness to me. And because of her, I was able to go out and be a person and work on myself. I got stronger. I got healthier. I met my husband and we started our life together. Things just kept looking up. We got engaged. We got married. We got another dog. We got a husky, Aria. We moved from Florida to Ohio and we bought a house, which is where I'm at now, and everything just started making sense and my life became so full of worth and I was so thankful, and I just loved where I was. I absolutely loved my life, and I still do. I really, really do. Adam's best friend moved to Ohio. We were so excited about it. Adam really needed a friend. We didn't have a whole lot of people up here. It was just fantastic to have him here. And of course, being here, Danny needed a car. So, I said, yeah, sure, I'll drive you over to the car place so we can go look at cars. And so we packed our things up and I shut the gate. We have a gate in our house that prevents the dogs from going downstairs when we're not home. I shut the gate and we got in the car and we went car shopping. It was a totally normal day. Danny ended up getting a car, but he was unable to take it home that day. So since we had a day ahead of us, we decided to go out and get our haircuts. We went in and had a good time and it was really, really nice. And then when we were leaving, I noticed a pet store and I said, hey, let's swing by. Kyah's laser broke. She loves laser pointers. I know they're terrible for dogs, but she loves them. So I wanted to buy her a new laser pointer. So we went into the store and I'm talking about how great Kyah is and explaining about the laser, and this lady is listening to me ramble about my dog as I'm showing pictures, and all 3 dogs, because at this point we have 3 dogs, Kyah, Aria, and Leia, who Adam got Leia for us for Christmas for me. And so we had our whole little pack. And I was so excited to bring my laser pointer home, and we got in the car, we headed back. And we went inside. Danny had to use the restroom, and I had to use the restroom. Typical thing when you first get home. So I went upstairs to go to the bathroom. The other 2 are always kenneled because Aria eats things and Leia wasn't potty trained. She was still a puppy. And when I'm washing my hands, I hear Danny scream. And he said, oh my God, Kyah. And that immediately scared me because that's something you're not used to hearing. And so I said, what? And he just kept saying, oh my God. And he came upstairs and he sat on the couch and he's just repeating himself. And I'm screaming now, and I'm like, what, Danny? What? Tell me. What? I just don't understand what happened. So I go downstairs, and Kyah is laying on the ground. She had a chip bag stuck over her head, and Danny had pulled it off and had seen that she had suffocated. So I ran over to Kyah, of course, and me panicking. There was a computer on the table that had gotten knocked off. The chairs were toppled over. It was so obvious that she was struggling, and she had gotten up on the table, and her head got put into the bag of chips to eat them. And when your head gets in the chips, the dog's breathing and it's tightening the bag. So as she's breathing and eating these chips, she's creating a seal, and she was unable to get it off. So Kyah ended up suffocating in this chip bag. And I immediately started to do CPR because obviously I don't know how long she was there. I don't know when it happened. So I'm just screaming and crying, and I'm doing CPR. Danny comes down and says, what do we do? I just can't stop screaming, and I'm mad and angry. And I just told him, just call Adam. Please call Adam. And I just couldn't believe it. It happened right here on the ground. And I sat with her, just holding her, and I just couldn't handle the pain. I sat and cried and held Kyah for over an hour. I didn't move. I just sat here and held her and cried and screamed, and I went through so many emotions in that hour, from sad to mad to pissed to just shock. And Adam came home and he couldn't believe it, and everybody was crying, and Adam had called his mom, and so she came over, and our niece came over, and everybody was there and supporting us, but Kyah wasn't. She was gone. So we wrapped Kyah up in her blanket. It has her name on it, and it's been her blanket since she was a puppy. We carried her upstairs, and we got the other 2 dogs out so they could say goodbye, and we laid her on the ground, and they sniffed her. I know they didn't understand, but we wanted them to at least know Kyah's gone. And so then we got into the car for Kyah to be cremated. We had to bring her to the vet. And Adam was holding Kyah, and I couldn't do it. I begged to have her back, and even though she was too big for my lap, I didn't care. I just held her tight. Her poor body, and it just was so unreal. I wasn't ready to say goodbye to my best friend. I really wasn't. In this terrible accident, I was so mad because the chips were left out, and I was mad because I had locked Kyah downstairs and I didn't realize it. When I shut the gate, Kyah was on the couch or downstairs or something, and I had no idea. She never leaves my side, so I didn't even think she was down there. And the chips were left open the night before, and it just was a terrible accident. She's such a good girl, and she never gets into things, but it's just terrible. So today marks 1 year since that's happened, and I have had such a hard year. I went right back through my depression. I struggled. I was happy on the outside, but at home and at night, I wasn't eating. I wasn't smiling. Adam was doing everything he could to make me happy, and I was just gone. And we started talking about having a baby, and that did help a lot because we really, really want to be parents. But that's a whole nother thing with IVF and doctor's appointments, and we can't do it naturally. So that is a really, really exciting thing, and it has helped me get back to normal. But that's just a whole nother story that we can save for another video. We've made this family that is so strong, and this connection between Adam and I is unbreakable. And through all of this, I know now that Kyah was here and she served her purpose, and she will always be remembered as such a good dog and my best friend. But now I'm stronger because of her, and I'm just so ready to live this life with my husband Adam. And I really wanted to share my story and raise awareness because a lot of people don't know about pet suffocation. I had no idea until it happened. I mean, who would have thought? You just don't think about stuff like that. Anyways, please help me spread awareness by sharing this video, and I really hope you take something away from this. A really good way to prevent pet suffocation is when you have a bag of chips to open both ends when you throw it away. Dogs can suffocate in bags of chips, Pringles cans, jars, anything. So just be very, very careful. Always put snacks in bowls and do everything you can so you don't have to experience what I did. Because I promise you, it's something you'll never forget. And thank you for listening.